today we are going to get started today on chapter 6.1. I'm sorry, 7.1, thank you. I'm sorry, we finished chapter 6. Okay, chapter 7.1 is going to be very, very, very similar to what we just did in chapter 6. Sit, please. Okay, I expect to see everyone having their notebooks out and writing down. It's not snack time, it's not talk time. Okay? Okay, if you're writing notes. Okay, Fabian, we're writing math notes, not copying someone's homework. Thank you. Okay, so chapter 7.1. Today we're going to talk about congruence. Something called congruence and similarity. Okay, something called congruence and similarity. Can anyone raise your hand before you start screaming and tell me, what does congruence mean? What does it mean if something is congruent? Drew?
The same.
Okay, the same. Does anyone else have anything? Yep. Equal. Okay, anyone else have another word, Sadie? The same shape and size. Okay, so I understand. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, so we can't say they're exactly the same, okay, because that could be something that's like equivalent, okay, like 100 pennies is equal to $1, but are they the same? No. Okay, so we can't say they're the same. We don't exactly want to say equal, okay, but congruence means same shape and size. Same shape and size.
My two hands.
That's right, your two hands should be congruent.
But my hand and her hand are similar.
This is true. Okay. Similar means the same shape but not the same size. Okay, so similarity is same shape but not the same size. So that's a good one. Okay, like my hand and your hand. They're both hand shaped, but they're not the same size. Okay, even for some of you, you might have like one hand that's not the same size as the other one.
My right hand is bigger than my left hand.
Well, there you go. So your hands are similar, but not congruent. Yes. Okay, so first thing we're going to go over today is I would like you to determine if the two shapes are congruent. Determine if the two shapes are congruent. Okay, determine if the two shapes are congruent. And we're going to say, sorry, I shouldn't have put a period there. Okay, we're going to say, determine if the two shapes are congruent by using transformations. Okay, determine if the two shapes are congruent by using transformations. Does anyone remember what is a transformation? We just did a whole chapter about transformations. What are the different types of transformations that we learned about? Translation. Okay, translation is one. And what does it mean if you use a translation? Translation is like a slide, okay? So you just move things around by sliding. Reflection is another one.
Rotation.
Reflection, rotation. And there was one more? Dilation, right. Okay. So a translation is when you slide something, but it's a reflection. Reflection is like a mirror image, okay? How about a rotation? Rotation is turning. And a dilation is what? When you make it bigger or make it smaller. Okay, so remember, dilations can make something smaller. Okay, so dilation is bigger or smaller.
I thought translation was flipping.
No, translation is when you slide something. Yeah. Flipping is like a mirror image. That's a reflection. Okay, so those are the 4 different types of, oh, sorry. I just couldn't see that very well.
What is reflection again?
Reflection is a mirror image. Thank you. Mirror image. Huh? No, you're going to be okay. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at is, I want to know, are these 2 congruent? Okay, so let's look for example number 1. Now, keep in mind that on your homework, all of these pictures are already going to be drawn. Okay, so you're not going to have to worry about figuring out how to draw them. So on your homework, you're going to see something that looks very similar to this. Okay, your pictures will already be drawn. So I want you to draw an upside down, what would you call this? What kind of a shape is this? A trapezoid. Okay, this is a trapezoid. If you wanted to say yes.
Can you slide it up?
Yes. It's okay. I meant like what's the geometric shape called? Okay, so draw something that looks pretty close to this. Then I want you to draw one that's upside down. Okay, so draw one that has the top, the skinny part on the top. We're going to call that B. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, I am not a very good artist. I apologize that I'm not a good artist. But the stuff that we're going to be dealing with today is going to be in your book. It's already been drawn for you. Okay, so the way to figure out if these are congruent, okay, if these are congruent, is you're going to take your patty paper. Okay, I want you to take your patty paper, and you are going to draw one of them. Okay, so I just want you to draw one of them. So draw the first one. Use your patty paper. Now I have lots of patty paper. I have 1,000 sheets, so if you guys need more, you can always have more. Okay, so first thing I want you to do is draw one of the figures on your patty paper. Okay, so draw it on there. So draw on your patty paper. Then I want to figure out, is this the same shape, same size and shape as the other one? So then check it. Okay, now given we just drew these, I'm going to promise you they're supposed to be the same size and shape. Okay, if you didn't draw them exactly perfect, like mine are not 100% perfect, but let's use our imagination here. Okay, it's going to have the figures drawn for you today. So we're going to say yes. I apologize that I didn't draw it absolutely perfect, but we're going to say yes, these are congruent. But the real question here is, how did I get from this shape to this shape? What would you have to do? Would you have to translate, reflect, rotate, or dilate?
Rotate.
Rotate. Well, do you think you rotate?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you could rotate. So now I want to figure out, how do I get from this one to this one? So literally, you can take your patty paper and I would line it up over the second one and figure out, what do you have to do to change it around to get it to look like that? So Ariana, what do you think you'd have to do to get it to look like this? We said rotate, right? How many rotations do I have to make? 2. So that's how many degrees? Rotate, or we're going to say rotation. Sorry, I'm going to use the ION word. Rotation, 180 degrees. In which way? Clockwise or counterclockwise?
Clockwise.
Did I move to the left or the right?
You did right.
Which, most of them, what did you do? Like on most of our problems, do they say counterclockwise or clockwise? They say counter. Okay, so we're going to say rotation 180 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, rotation 180 degrees counterclockwise. So this one technically was asking you. So are these congruent? You can either write just yes, or you can say congruent by rotation 180 degrees counterclockwise. Okay. Question on how I did that? Okay, let's try another one for number 2. Again, I want to determine if these two are congruent by using transformations. Okay, so this one I'm going to make like some blocks. We're going to pretend that we have some blocks. Okay, the first one looks like that. So we have like a set of blocks. Yeah, it's like Tetris. That was exactly what I was going for. And again, I apologize for my poor drawing skills. It's like Tetris. It's like really bad looking Tetris, sorry. So, are these congruent?
No.
How many blocks is each one made up of? Like if you count them. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How much is this one made up of? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was supposed to be 5. So they're both made up of the same amount. But are they congruent? No. Why? How can you tell? So do you think that, so just because something is the same value, like the same number of blocks, does that make it congruent? No. So it's kind of like earlier I said, right, they're similar, but they're not congruent. Okay? So this one you would write non-congruent, or excuse me, not congruent. Okay? And the reason why is you can say no transformations. Ladies, I am talking right now, which means you should not be. No transformations, excuse me, will match the figures up exactly. No transformations will match the figures up exactly. Okay, do we have questions on how I did that? Think we're good? Okay, let's do just like one more. Okay, so this one I'm going to make a line that looks, so a lot of what you're going to do today is like, it's basically Tetris. It's going to be super exciting for you. Feel the excitement.
Mark has never played Tetris.
Okay, well, don't worry about it. Tetris is a super old school.
Dude, I have like the first one.
That's awesome. Okay, how about these two? I'm so proud. I want to know what transformations could be used if the first figure is the pre-image. Okay, so this is something we call the pre-image. Right. So this is something we call the pre-image. Okay. So what would you have to do to get this pre-image? Pre-image just means how it starts. What would you have to do to get to change from here to here? Now you can use the patty paper if you want to, but you don't have to. Okay. But if it's going to help you, you can use it. Okay. So just draw it on here. Figure out what do I have to do over here to change it to be like that. So literally take this one. Chantel, please stop playing with tape. Take this, and what do you have to do? Do you think I'm going to have to rotate it? Which way should I go? To the left or the right? You want to go to the right, so that's going to be which ways? Clockwise. Okay, so I'm going to write myself a note. Clockwise, and then how many rotations? 90 degrees. Okay, clockwise 90 degrees, so rotation clockwise 90 degrees. Now, if I just took this pre-image, this first image, and rotated it 90 degrees, this is kind of silly, but they want you to write this part too. Would you be on this figure already? No, what would you technically have to do then? Slide it, right? So technically, we have to say a rotation clockwise 90 degrees, then, or followed by a translation. Because you'd actually have to move it, like slide it over here. I think that part's silly, but it's part of the question that they want the answer to be. Okay? Say it again. I do want you to write that, yeah. So just get used to at the end of each answer, you're probably going to have to say followed by a translation. So technically up here, I apologize. I should have said rotation 180 degrees counterclockwise followed by translation. Nope, you're done. Okay, do we have any questions? I want you guys to write this down. You are going to be doing, hey, I am not done. Listen. Your homework, which should be able to be completed in class today before you leave, is on page 513 in your book. You are doing numbers 1 through 4 and 10 to 13. 1 through 4 and 10 through 13. That's it.
Have a good day.
Try not